the sun, will it shine on me today? Oh yes it is. Well, I found the answer. Thank God, thank God. I've learned to pray. I found the answer. Yes, I have. I've learned to pray. I've learned to pray.
In those wonderful words, I've found the answer. I've learned to pray. One son did a very foolish thing, but he repented. He prayed and he came to his senses, and his attitude on his heart was of a true, repentant heart. And the other son was a heart full of anger, jealousy, strife, and bitterness. But the father loved the two sons equally, and the father treated one son the same as the other son equally. The younger son said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate, mine inheritance." So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had. He packed his things, he packed his belongings, and he set off for a distant country, and he spent wastefully all his wealth on wild living and partying and drinking and smoking and indulging women. He had it easy. He enjoyed himself and he enjoyed the pleasures that his money could afford. He enjoyed the pleasures of his flesh, of his body, until his bank account, his current account, and his credit account was bust. He was bankrupt. He had no funds left in his credit account or his bank account, his current account. His credit cards were maxed, and he didn't have the money in the bank to repay his creditors. He was totally bankrupt. He was totally busted out. There was a severe famine. In other words, there was a food shortage. There was an economic collapse. In that country he chose to go and squander and spend all his money. So he began to be, like many others, in dire straits and in deep need. When there is an economic collapse, the monetary system is in trouble and the banks get very tight with money, and employers get very tight with staff. And if sales aren't good, if the money's not coming in, they have to lay off staff. They have to lay off workers until the economic situation in the economy begins to pick up and the money begins to come back in so that they can rehire staff and begin to prosper again. So this young man went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country. He presented his CV and asked for a job. And this citizen of that country sent him into his fields to feed the hogs, to feed the pigs. Hogs are dirty. Pigs are dirty creatures by nature. They roll in the muck and they roll in the filth, and their living conditions are great for them, but not for human beings who have to look after them and go and clean out the pig pens. And this was the job that young man was given, to go and to clean out the pig pens. It was a smelly, dirty, stinking job. And it says that he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. No one fed this young man. No man looked after his physical needs. He looked at the pigs and he was so hungry, he was so famished, he was so down in his luck that the pig's food began to look delicious to him, so much so that he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating. In other words, he wanted to eat the same food as the pigs to stave off the pangs of hunger. And when he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired men have food to spare? And here I am starving to death." He says, "I will go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you." Notice the attitude. Notice the change in the attitude. Notice the repentant young man, not the aloof and haughty young man at the beginning. And notice he says, "I have sinned against heaven and against you." He had talents, he had gifts, but he squandered them for the love of money. And the Bible says that the love of money, not money in itself, but the love of money, is the root, is the beginning of all evil. It's when we lust after the money and the things that the money, the stuff that the money can bring us. That's when we get into all sorts of problems. But here his attitudes, he says, "I have sinned, I have wronged heaven and you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men." he virtually said to his father, I'm giving up my sonship. I'm giving up my title deeds. I'm giving up my right to be called your son. Take me on as one of your employees. Take me on as one of your servants. So he got up and he went back to his father. But look at the father, and look at what the father's attitude was, and look at what the father's heart was, and look where the father was at, and look what the father was doing. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. I am a father myself, and although my children are grown up and have children of their own, I still look for them. I still long for them. And I hope that when they're in trouble, they will come and knock on my door, because I love them. Even though they're grown up and they're separated and living in another country or in another part of Scotland and England, my heart is still with them. My heart still loves them. My heart will never stop loving them. My heart will never stop looking for them and saying, are they all right? I will never stop praying for them. I will never stop asking God to protect them, because I'm their father and I love them. And the son turned round and said, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But before he could get the second bit out, make me like one of your hired men. I give up my rights of sonship. Employ me as an employee. The father said to his servants, quick, bring the breast robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let's have a feast, a party, and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field, and when he came near to the house, he heard music and dancing. He heard the party. He heard the celebration. So he called one of the servants and asked, what is going on? And the servant says, your brother has come home. He replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has him back safe and sound. The fattened calf was the feast calf. It was a choice calf. It was the best calf of the herd. It was kept for special feasts and special occasions. But notice the attitude of the older brother. He became angry and refused to go in. He took a temper tantrum. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father and said, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. I've been here all the time. I've been working my butt off for you all